Hello, my name is Clint Perkins. I'm in Lamar University's Administration Education Master's Program. I'm currently in ED/LD 5335. This is the introduction to the leading video, option number 1. During this video, I will be leading a focus group over professional development and what it means to our campus and to the teachers in the form of growth and development, and as far as T-tests, and as far as the needs of our campus. I chose this option because our school was in the midst of change. We've gotten a new principal, and he's going through a process of changing things, basically from an older setting to a newer setting, in which we are actually bringing in data for the teachers to be using. Growth and development is a huge part of it, and there's definitely a change. We went talking to our mentor. He's excited about this because he's planning on using what we find from this focus group in our staff development in the coming year. There's going to be 4 teachers joining me. One of them is a biology teacher. Her name is Rochelle Kabish. A second one, the gentleman's going to be Anthony Owen. He is a world history teacher. The third person is Jessica Boyer. She is our English 2 teacher. And the fourth person is Miss Essler. She is our Algebra 1 teacher. The items on the agenda, the teachers received an agenda slip. And it basically covers the purpose of professional development as far as being a teacher. We're going to talk about data, do a quick review of the needs of our school. We're going to talk about the importance of professional development and teacher growth, and in regards to school improvement. We're going to talk about the importance of professional development in regard to T-tests and their growth and evaluation. We're going to talk a little bit about teacher-centered versus student-centered classrooms, and how do we get there using professional development. We'll discuss the 3 basic forms of professional development: content-based, pedagogical-based, procedural-based. We'll also talk about school-based professional development versus resource-centered or conference-based professional development. We're going to discuss how we guarantee that what's learned in the professional development is transferred over to the students in class, and how we can evaluate that. Then we're going to go through and talk about the needs of our campus. What do we need as far as staff development wide? Do we need to work on data? With what types of data? What we use for data is DMAC here, and most teachers have not been using it, so we'll discuss that. We're going to discuss the options of possible PLCs. We are a small school, and with that being said, you can't do traditional PLCs, but we can do cross-core curriculum and things like that. We'll also discuss a bit about mentorship, be it teacher to teacher or possibly teacher to student, and the professional development that we might have for that. And we're going to discuss where should our needs be focused at in service and staff development. Should it be more pedagogical? Should it be more content-based on our staff development here during school or in service, or should it be more procedural? This scheduled this meeting December 1st at end of school day. It's going to start about 3:45. School lets out 3:32, so we're going to start at 3:45 and should go to about 4:30, maybe a little bit earlier than that. And the materials that are needed, I've given the teachers a copy of the agenda. I've given them a copy of the TAPA report from 2015-16 and 2014-15, along with the system safeguard system from 2014-15 and 2015-16. And we're going to talk about some of the needs that we have. They have also gotten the agenda ahead of time, so they can look at some of the questions that are going to be discussed, so they can have time to think about it. That pretty much sums it up. Thank you. First thing I want to do is thank you all for coming here and doing this for me and doing a focus group. As I said earlier, Mr. Smiley, he's actually pretty excited that we're doing this because we can use this towards next year's professional development and staff development. But I really appreciate you using your time to help me out. I know you don't have to do that. I know you have things to do and people see. So I highly appreciate your helping me and with this focus group. So the purpose of this focus group is to go over professional development in the school, how the importance of it towards the growth of teachers, school improvement, and I feel a little twisted here because it's really big in the T-test stuff for teacher evaluation. So that's where we're heading to. A quick question for you is, I can get y'all, what each of you, I guess I should do this first since I already talked about you in my introduction video. This is Miss Boyer, she's our English 2 teacher. Miss Esler, our Algebra 1 teacher. Coach Kavish, our biology teacher. And Coach Anthony Owen, our world history teacher. And like I said, they very nicely agreed to do this with me. If each of you can tell me, in your view, what's the purpose of professional development? Start with you, Anthony.
Well, so we're not stagnant. Maybe we improve every year, and we get to where every year we're just improving. You know.
Okay, I'm gonna start with here. Carry on. Sorry.
To help us to learn different ways to help our students, that all of our students are different types of learners and need different things, and just a way to refresh us every year on ways to reach those students.
Yeah, I like the new ideas. I like to incorporate the technology, any of the new ideas that will help your different levels to bring student interest. I'm all about bringing in something new.
Okay.
I would agree. I really like, what I like about professional development is the ability to see new tactics, new teaching strategies, just new ideas from people who have taught and maybe now teach teachers.
So, keep us from getting stagnant, helping us with the kids, new ideas, new strategies. All right. What do you think about mentorship? Now, mentorship in the state of Texas, if you're a first year, second year teacher, I know this is a little bit off the agenda, but if you're a first year, second year teacher, the state requires mentors. Not at a school, but teaching period. Is professional development towards that, what do you see as far as mentoring students? That's a little bit different. Mentoring students. Some schools break up and spend their time as an adult mentoring the students in classes as far as growing the students as students. Have y'all ever thought about doing that?
So like a teacher assigned to maybe a student or a few students to kind of
yes,
build a
small
relationship
groups.
with them?
That's right. And if we were going to do something like that, how would we do the professional development work?
Would that be in a separate class, or is that while you're trying to teach you're doing that?
Sometimes we go out there in break time period. It'd be kind of like a focus group like this. So would that be something that would be done during the summertime? Or would that be something to be done during staff development, do it throughout the school year? Here's an example of this. Our elementary is doing capturing kids' hearts, which is something very similar to what I'm talking about. I'm not suggesting this. This is the thing I've read about. Capturing kids' hearts is done throughout a year. They teach them, they train them right before school starts, and they have meetings multiple times throughout a year. So how would we do that here, using professional development?
How do we train the teachers?
Yes, that's the key thing.
Well, I mean,
Probably like elementary did.
right.
For the summertime.
Yeah.
So a big staff development, or would you ask us the teachers to do it individually throughout the summer?
Are we all gonna have, like if everybody was gonna have to do it, I would just put it all together.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
one
I
big
did.
group.
Yeah, put it all together.
Okay. I'm sorry, that's just me being
Or
ADHD.
are you thinking maybe making it like one of our comp days, like instead of going to Region 9, spending a day up here doing,
Or it could be like a
using
staff
that for your,
development
using that
day.
for your hours?
I would still think it'd be better if we're all gonna have to do
Oh,
it, do it
yeah.
as a whole
As
group.
a whole
Yeah.
group.
So that might be something towards right before school starts.
Mhm.
Okay. Like I said, I'm being ADHD, I'm sorry. I get that way sometimes, especially if you know me. So I want to do real quick is I want to look at the data here for my type of reports. That's the second thing on our agenda I just jumped off of. What we have is we have the 2014-15 Texas Academic Performance Report and 2015-16. The 16 is from last year. The purpose that we're looking at this data is here in a little bit we're going to have to talk about the needs of the school as far as professional development goes on, and for staff-wide, or if we're going to talk about individual needs. So on this, in the 14-15, just going through real quick, English 1, the campus had 77%. You look at English 2, English 1 on the 15-16, it was down 68%. I'm going to discuss this a little bit, what kind of things that happened last year, so in case you're not sure. English 2 was 84%, and 16 was 72%. Algebra 1 was 87, and then 76. Biology went from 94 to 85, and U.S. history went from 96 to 92. So the key thing that changed last year was they added the special education kids. They counted towards our accountability. Also, there's also the chance that we could have had a slow class that year. That happens sometimes. You have some kids who are not as high as other classes are. So you're kind of, that's what, when I look at this, what I'm seeing is the change in scores can be those two things.
I know what part of the algebra too is, that was, last year was the first year of our new TEKS.
New TEKS came in too, so that changed that too. So the question here is, out of those, which one you see that kind of worries us?
English and math.
English and math?
That what always worries us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know, and the biology dropping down to the 80s is a concern also. The history dropped 4%, and that's usually in our school it is. That's usually pretty good. So these might be some things we want to think about when we start talking about staff development as far as content-based things. Now, with that being said, I would like you to look at the system of safeguards, which is one of them has 2 pages and one's a single page. They kind of condensed the report. And what you're looking at here, on the first page of the 14, where it says 15 is, that's the state safeguards, and the second page of that is the federal system safeguards. Where on the 16, they have them on the same page. Okay. In 2015, we met all the state and all the state system safeguards for reading and math, writing, science. The federal, which is a higher percentage, we missed reading and mathematics. Like I said, that's the difference between 83% to Texas going 60%. Now, when you look over at last year's, I had reading highlighted. Now, when you break it up by ethnic groups, all students, 60%, we got that. But where we got hit at was on the economic disadvantage on reading. And we missed all of them in the federal areas. So the thing that really stands out to me is the reading art, the reading area. So one thing to think about a little bit later on, we're discussing this more, is how can we incorporate, and what type of professional development can we get to incorporate reading into many of our classes. Being a former history teacher and biology teacher, sometimes I couldn't stop talking. So let them read. But that's just the data I wanted you to look at and think about as we go into talking about other parts of the professional development. Any questions about that, concerns? All right. All right. So we talked about what we thought about professional development in general. What each of you think about professional development towards the growth of it as a teacher, and what kind of professional development do you find helps you the most?
As a teacher, probably content.
As a teacher, content.
I agree.
Content. So it's content all the way across. All right. So, what's the importance of it? Professional development, very important to the school improvement. Now, I think something you might want to consider here is that everybody here is experienced teachers, And usually where experienced teachers look for, they usually have strategies and techniques that they know work. They're looking for edges in content knowledge, like y'all talk about. What happens when you get the young teachers who have trouble with classroom management, or they only taught one way to teach and it doesn't work? So when thinking of school improvement, why think about that and possible suggestions or how we could approach that.
I think one thing would be, everything is going towards technology. The kids respond more to technology than anything else. And I think more knowledge on how to use technology, more resources that are technology based, I think would be a huge thing that would, I think it's the way of the future anyway. I think that would be a focus that we could look at.
So just straight up technology training of techniques of how you use it for teachers?
Maybe
or-
incorporate
In
it
your
with,
content.
Yes.
In your
with
content.
content, with strategies like you're saying that could reach kids better.
Not necessarily like using how you use a Promethean board, but
Right.
techniques of how you use the internet for research or
And maybe how to incorporate, not just having the technology, knowing how to use it, but how to incorporate it into a classroom to work with a strategy that will,
more interactive.
yes.
I know some people who would be super excited that you said that.
Yeah.
What else y'all have? So we got technology, school improvement wise.
You know, something, you know, like the capturing kids' hearts, something where you're focused on, because we do have a really high population of those low economic, and just how to reach them and support
So-
them better. I don't know,
More cultural based, because that has its own culture.
something that would help us reach them, you know, because they don't know what they're going through and what,
And they're
They
not willing
really-
to express what they're going through.
no, just to kind of help them, give them experiences and help us relate better to them.
Mhm.
Okay, and this is going to be more
I don't know how you say it.
pedagogical. I mean, that's almost out, really not quite pedagogical. It's not teaching strategy. I mean, kind of, it could be, but
More like
You're talking
social,
about
like,
social-
like kind of
like counseling almost. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, like kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is something that we don't get trained a lot whenever you go,
Well,
you
to
know,
give them something to care about because they don't have anybody
Yeah.
pushing them that this is important. I mean, kind of,
it's not quite relationships, but it almost is.
right.
I don't know. But you see it a lot. Like, how do you reach those kids?
Mhm.
So we're looking at more of a full-blown staff development on that too. 'Cause a lot of times content stuff is individual based. Alright, let's talk about T-tests for a second. With the change of our evaluation for teachers, it used to be, they used to call it I gotcha type deal. If you were just right, they gotcha. This is more growth based. With that being said, a lot of in the planning parts of it, they're looking for how you use data in your planning, your assessments. How do y'all feel about data in the classroom, and how comfortable are you with the software out there that they expect us to use? How comfortable are you with that? Do you feel great using it, or are you kind of, like I was when I first started, just completely lost?
like I was saying earlier, I think that the program like DMAC, it's not very user friendly as far as interface when you're on the internet, and it takes a while to hunt through there. I don't know if y'all got to mess with it yet, but just trying to create a test and save it, and then you have to go back to another area to edit it, and then over here, it's not like point and click friendly.
Yeah.
So that takes a little more training, a lot more work. I'm sure we'll get there, but that's gonna take a little while, I think, to get used to using it. The data is good, I think, as far as getting feedback on what questions they're missing, or what, like in history, if they're they get these, and then there's a certain question that everybody's missing on the test, and you kind of have an idea of using the data that, okay, I need to spend more time on this area. This is something that they're weak at or not getting. And then using that data, I can go back and maybe reteach some of that stuff and figure out the next year also what students traditionally have trouble with, and then I can use that data to figure out what areas I need to hit more. So I could use data that way.
Okay. As far as training in it,
Oh,
Yeah, we need some.
yeah.
I mean, like,
that's true.
we had, my experience with DMAC, they gave us our login.
Mhm.
I can log into it, and everything else that I know how to do, I figured out on my own.
So we're looking for formal
And
broad
so,
range.
and really, I've looked at it for my kids. My elementary kids bring it home and like, it's DMAC, I have DMAC. And so then I started playing with it,
Mhm.
okay. And then until the junior high got in trouble, and they're making them do all of this stuff, and that, so I'm on their stuff, and she showed like how to print the Scantron, and it'll scan it back in and have all your data. I didn't know you could do that until I saw that.
I saw that
Oh
today.
gosh,
Mhm.
why didn't somebody tell me that like 5 years ago when I first logged on to DMAC?
Mhm.
That's what y'all playing with yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, we started getting into it some yesterday, but, you know, if it's not for him showing me, I would be hunting and searching for hours trying
Yeah.
to figure.
So I
Which-
just
which
figured
people
it
have
out.
to do it.
Right, right.
I mean, like what I have several things on there, but I didn't know I could print a Scantron and then go scan it through a copier.
Oh, wow.
Like for real, why didn't
Yes.
somebody tell?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
oh
grade it.
wow,
It'll grade it
yes.
for you.
And then it shows you, just like your star data, you have everything. And you can pick your questions and everything. We've had that the whole time.
And this is one of the
Nobody
things-
knows how to do it.
This is one of the things that Mr. Smiley really wanted to talk about with y'all about. He's one of, well, we pushed DMAC, but he's like, you know, I don't know how much how comfortable they feel with it, or how much help they need to get it going.
We need help getting it
So
going.
we need a base level.
So is the DMAC what Mr. Clayton used when he was giving
Yes.
us those
Yes.
tests we had to
Yes.
give?
It is, yes.
Yes.
And it has a whole question banks in there. I was playing with it the other night.
It's,
and it's
it's
not-
all in star data.
It's
loaded
all
in
text
it.
based.
So they're old star scores, like individually for the kids.
Yes,
Yes.
you can go through there and look for data too of how the kids have done past.
Their
For-
star
for
scores
the
are
plan.
loaded, but if you wanted to give them a practice test, you can pull it out by teams, you can pull it out by, I mean,
And
it's
I-
amazing.
As a new teacher, I had no idea. I thought it was just for, like.
For data, straight running.
Well, no,
Star data or something
I
like
didn't even know that. I thought it was
Yeah.
just, this is where I'm gonna do my T-test stuff,
Oh.
and that's
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
like,
See,
that's-
yeah,
I
okay.
had no idea that you could, because we had something similar at my old campus called Eduphoria, and you could go
Uh-huh.
and look individually at each kid. You could look at each question on
Yeah.
the STAR test.
You
like
can
what
do that
were
in
they-
DMAC too.
Right, and so I didn't,
Yeah,
I thought we didn't have anything.
so I'm telling you, people don't know about it, so it's not that.
Well, they know there's DMAC, but they have no
Yeah,
idea what
what it
that
What
is.
that
Yeah.
is.
Right.
So we're gonna need, okay, we'll get that here in a little bit. That's what for the
We need
agenda.
very formal training.
Yes, training in all the different aspects of it.
Because it's not
Yes.
user friendly.
No,
No,
it's
it's
not,
not.
and
Gotta be
I'm
taught.
telling you, over, like the very first time Mr. Clayton gave us a login to it, and I have the little strip of paper still that has my ID and everything on it, and I threw it in a drawer and I have it, but, so I just kinda started like literally just playing with it and clicking on stuff and it'll say, oh, you don't have access to that. Okay, so I'll click on this one. What do I have access
Kind of
to?
like roaming around the dark, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and it's not very user friendly, but once you figure it out, it's not terrible.
That's true. Okay. No, go ahead and move on here because I don't want you to hog your time up. Teacher-centered versus student-centered classrooms. The big push nowadays is to have things more, it's a push, to have it more, the class oriented toward the kids learning and encouraging their own personal learning. With the teachers, other than just teaching, act more of a facilitator of their other students' learning. So we have to learn how to give up control of the classroom to some extent while maintaining control. And the question is how do we go about the training purposes of getting, I mean, hey, this was foreign to me. I think I talked about before we started the video, it was a whole, here in a student-centered classroom where the students have control of their learning. I'm like, what? Growing up, we never had control of learning. We just did what we're taught, kind of like a machine. So what kind of training do we need to ensure that we're heading toward this direction? I know that's kind of a complex question. Some of you are going, what?
What kind of training do we need?
What kind of professional development? Or does this need to be more, and it's not really something you're going to get in content areas.
Yeah.
It's going to be more what you're going to get in the pedagogical areas of strategy and techniques.
So model it for us.
Right,
Yeah.
send like a
So-
campus that does a
Okay.
lot of that maybe, or a company or whatever that is expert at that coming and showing us like,
Do you have a professional
What
development?
it looks like,
Yeah,
actually
So-
what it looks
Yeah.
like, not telling us what
Yeah.
it looks like,
Right.
showing us what it
Yeah.
looks
So
like.
possibly find a campus that does this in a good way and sending a group of teachers to observe it on that campus, something like that, so you can see it firsthand, or bringing those people here to
Oh.
instruct us.
I definitely think it should be from experienced teachers who've actually practiced this, because so many times when you watch these professional development things, it is ideal world situation that doesn't match
Yes.
any realistic classroom ever, and it's worthless in some way.
So you're talking more get away from philosophy and get towards the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Like, tell me, yes, I know it needs to be student-centered, tell me how I do that and how I make that happen.
Right.
Show me
And how you
that
get
works.
enough
Yeah.
done, because so many times when you're doing some group things, you feel like you're spinning your wheels a little bit,
Yeah.
and it's not getting as much information taken care of as you need.
Okay, next part of our agenda deals with the three forms of professional development. Content-based, which we've kind of discussed earlier, it's basically going back to Region 9, Service Center, or conferences, and people talk specifically about biology, the history classes, math, stuff like that, and you get that fun part of it. Is this something that we should be doing, providing teachers here? Should we have people come in from Region 9 and provide a day, because I know the departments are doing department meetings. And one of the things we do department meetings in the future, probably not this year, but maybe in future years, would that be advantageous to y'all to have somebody come in from Region 9 and provide y'all professional development for half a day and something like that? Is that something that would help you, hurt you? What are your thoughts on that?
well, I can't speak for all the subjects, but because ours, and maybe it's the same, I don't know, because ours builds so much, like, vertical alignment would really, to know, I say yes, because you have someone come in and all four English teachers get to meet together and we get to say, okay, we know our teaks, but a lot of those teaks overlap, and to be able to talk to each other and be like, okay, this is what this is what I would like for you to have covered by the, I'd like for the kids to like know how to do this in this particular way, maybe, especially because we've got a STAR test from English 1 to English 2, like we're the only content that's got, them back to back. And so it would just help with like vertical alignment, I feel like, if you gave departments, like the English department, I don't know how much it would help everyone else, but the opportunity to meet together and bring someone in versus going off on their own and doing the professional development.
Okay, I got
Does
you.
that make sense?
Yes, it's more like a unit-based type.
Yes.
Or department-based professional. Do y'all agree with that, disagree with that? What are your thoughts?
I think it wouldn't help us.
Wouldn't
I don't
help,
think
would
it
not
would
help
help.
math?
I don't know that, not if they're testing for me at the freshman level.
No, it wouldn't.
It doesn't matter.
What about having, if you could do something like that between y'all and the 8th graders? Is that something that, which was mine, where we could discuss that?
No, I
Haven't
think
passed it that way, but is for a comment between junior high and here,
It would be a little more helpful.
it would be helpful in math, but I don't think we need Region 9 to
you
do
know,
Right.
something that- okay.
Like, I don't need Region 9 to help us
So,
do that.
so outside of Ms. Boyer's suggestion, let's make sure we get off that.
Yeah.
And I see the need for that.
And you could even do it without Region 9. I mean,
Yeah.
you just letting the department meet. And I can
Yeah.
understand y'all's because y'all's are different.
Yeah,
Yes.
Same
Especially
subject,
biology.
but they're different classes, whereas ours are too, but we build it like, I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
the freshman teachers have to teach, the freshman teacher has to teach, like, here's how you do a thesis. And, we would like to not have to reteach that every
Right.
year,
Mhm.
so.
And math does that to an extent, but it's kind of separate too. We have a
History,
pretty
we're not
good,
really, one concept doesn't need to be built on another, it's
No.
different
it's,
Mhm.
throughout centuries,
What about strategy-based, technique-based? Is that something we could use here as a staff? Or is it, again, that something needs to be done on your own during the summertime? are there things that we could bring in as administrators on those staff development days that could take care of y'all and help y'all become better teachers?
Using the data.
Go back to the data.
The DMAC
Well, I mean,
stuff,
like,
I
DMAC
mean,
stuff. Okay,
If you're gonna do, that was something that everybody can use,
But
and
not-
everybody can,
but not strategy-wise as far as techniques and teaching things in the classroom.
well,
I think those ideas are good to get. I don't know if it's better from like a Region 9 type thing, or if it's better,
I don't know, yeah,
I don't know.
just the, I guess the strategy of using the data. I don't know,
But I do like new creative, you know,
Yeah.
hearing new ideas and ways to do different things just to mix it up and have,
yeah.
you know, since everything is trying to be more student-led, trying to come up with better ways to do that. It's always good to get fresh ideas from the outside, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so
sometimes I think it's better to go to do it at Region 9, just to
Yeah.
hear what different schools are doing.
Yeah.
what about bringing different schools into this school? There are schools out there who are doing well in certain areas, having their teachers come and almost, I would say, PLC with y'all as a department. Is that something that would be considerable, or do you think it's better done on a separate, on a neutral location?
Well, maybe a neutral location, just because you have several different
Different
schools
schools,
and
yeah.
different ideas, and you take this idea from this one and this idea from this one, and it kind of becomes something different for you
Because
to
you also
do.
get to talk to other
Yes.
teachers in those things at Region 9.
Yes.
So you're not, it's not just them teaching you stuff, you're also talking to the people
Mhm.
around you. I've gotten more ideas from other teachers than I have from those guys.
Right.
9 out of 10 times.
And we're actually getting on into the next agenda, area of the agenda, and we're talking, discussing about that versus school-based versus service area-based professional development and the pros and cons of those things. So let me ask this, I'm gonna pivot for you for real quick. How do we ensure that the things that you learn in professional development is transferred to the students in the classroom? How can we evaluate that, measure that? You follow what I'm saying? So, I know when I was teaching, I would get excited with the catalog, try to find something that I can bring back to my kids, and I'm competitive on top of that, so how can I make myself a better teacher to increase our scores? I would go in June, and for whatever reason, I would get busy, and I would look at it again, and then come back in August, like, how do you say to do that? So how do we transfer that from, and how would you ensure that transfer from there to here to our kids? Is there some way that when you come, so if you go to professional development, you need to come back and share with the entire faculty, or what?
I've had experiences where I've gone and done professional, like, training, and they've allowed us to, like, or even made us write lesson plans, like, then and there. Like, and you don't know, like, your scope and sequence and when exactly you're gonna use it, but then you have this lesson plan. There was one last summer that I went to, and I wrote this lesson plan just to implement, I don't remember what it was, but to implement what I was learning at this training. And I wrote a lesson plan doing it, or with that information, and then I was able to use it the next year. So I don't know, I mean, I know that's pretty specific, but when when training allows time for that, and a lot of, I don't know about all of them, but a lot of trainings allow time for that. So I don't know, I mean, I don't know how you could create that for, how you can guarantee that, because you may go to a training at Region 9 and they may not give you time to write lesson plans.
That's
so.
true, that's true, Nancy. I guess it goes back to accountability. They want to hold everybody accountable, and teachers specifically. I know one of the suggestions in a previous class that I had, they're talking about professional development. They're talking about designing professional development that's school-based. So actually what happened here, instead of taking out your day, during the school day, so it has to be on a staff development day or one of the department meeting days when you have half a day. What they were talking about was, you get the training, and then you have to go put it in use the next day or next week. And you come back a week or two later and discuss how it worked, what went wrong, how to make it better, things like that. Now, with that being said, that's something that you as a faculty need to discuss what type of training you're going to be getting.
Yeah, that would totally depend on the training as to how.
You know, I mean, now, the data stuff we talked about, that's something you could be done that way, because you can come back and say, okay, we did this. But when you're talking about the strategies and teaching techniques, which is things if this was a larger school, When I was at the previous 4A school I was in, we had straight running PLCs where all the biology teachers would get together and we would meet and talk about how you teach mitosis or something like that, and kick the idea around and we'd try it. If things didn't go well, then we would then come back and say, well, how'd you do that again? Because I didn't do it right. How can we do that here? And and specifically what type of professional development we need to be doing that when, if we're going to do that?
I don't know how you do that.
Would you want to do teaching techniques, strategies, different strategies?
I guess a different strategy.
And will be best done at the department?
Well, could we
By
tie it
when?
back in where we were talking about, some kind of techniques or something, reaching those kids that
Yes.
are the economically disadvantaged, and that way it would, it
Like if
would,
we're doing this, like as a
it
whole.
would, it would be as a whole,
Right.
and
But
just
the
being
aim
able to come back together as a whole school and saying,
Yeah.
this is, this is how it worked for me, or this is how it didn't work for me, or,
And that would be really easy to turn around and implement the next day, because it's not like you're
Right.
necessarily like interrupting your lesson
Right, your
plan
lesson
that you
plan.
have for the 6 weeks.
So I don't think I would wanna have a training and say, you have to do this tomorrow.
Like, to teach this,
Like,
like, what he teaches tomorrow.
right,
I don't
It'd be more like a
That's kind of what
communication type
pushing.
thing, like a way to
Because it causes
communicate.
accountability.
Well, I don't mind, if
Or
I got to
having
choose my
it-
thing,
or even, it could be something that we do right before school starts and saying you have to try it within the first week.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Not every
Something
single
like
was a school year, but
Okay, so like a few years ago, we had to do those, whatever, thinking
Yes.
maps.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So we all had to put in a thinking map. So every teacher, the first day of school, did a bubble map of their characteristics. And the kids were like, whoa, we have to do it. I'm like, that's stupid. Nobody got anything out of that. We did our
how long did that last?
6 weeks. I
Right.
think we had to do 1 in 6 weeks. So everybody did it their first day and done.
You were here for that, weren't you?
No.
No, I don't think so. It was
I'll
longer.
probably do that next
But
year.
that's stupid.
We had to provide one every 6 weeks.
Yes.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you have to turn it in.
You had to turn it in.
That was your proof of doing it,
Yeah.
and their way of following up on it. All
I
right.
think I probably paid 1 every 6 weeks. I'm not sure I used 1 every 6 weeks.
Okay.
Turned
So-
one in.
I think we've gotten pretty much through this. We're getting to the bread and butter of this here. And we're getting close on our time, I believe. I think we got about 7 minutes or so left. So what type of professional development do we need here? And we're thinking next year timeline. We've talked about DMAC. So, I'm gonna get up here and write my beautiful handwriting. Needs of the school. Now, if you guys also have to go back to thinking about the data we saw from the TAP reports and thinking the needs for the kids as far as where our gaps and stuff are. So we talked about training as far as DMAC and the variation of what it can do for us, be it from straight running data, how to use that data in our planning. We talked about as far as test making, and then desegregating that data from the test. Was there anything else that we kind of discussed? And you also said something about just full, broad, basic training of how to use DMAC, right?
Yeah.
And all that, so probably should put that one first. Content-based, is everybody good with this? Did I miss anything? All right, content-based, the big thing that caught my attention was the reading. So, would it be advantageous to us to bring somebody in who can tell us how to bring reading into all of our classes? Because it's going to help every class. I know there's times with mathematics that they have issues with word problems, converting that into numbers and stuff. So would it be advantageous to us to do a content-based thing on reading in all cross-curricular areas?
I think it would definitely help in history.
So will this
It
be,
wouldn't hurt anything.
so will this be more of a staff development day before school starts type thing? The middle of the school year, or hey, this is what you need to go get done this summer? How would that be best approached to faculty?
Probably the new year.
I think early.
Okay. Other areas, mathematics. What about cross-curricular stuff from that? So would that help you in algebra? I mean, because you're basically talking English 1, they're not gonna get a lot of math in English 1. Or geography, they could get some stuff in there because you got population and stuff like that. Biology, you get the population stuff. So would a more, how would you say it? Have somebody come in from outside come in to do work cross-curricular stuff there with the freshman level classes, would that help you out?
Would
In
it help me
algebra?
out?
Yeah, that's the key. Because what we could bring in, we could just tell you, hey, go get it done on your own there summertime. But if you're trying to bring other people in to help you out and cross-curricular stuff, would that help or be a waste of time or money, if you will say?
I don't know that it would help to do the whole staff. I
Just,
think that
just your freshman level teachers.
freshman level,
Yes.
no, because they don't know algebra. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know that that's feasible.
Okay. So we just stick with reading then, what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's
I
probably
could do
enough.
like
'Cause you can get too much.
A cross-curricular between science and math, but it's really more like algebra and like physics.
Yeah, what you're not gonna get.
You know, and so that's not
That's not-
freshman, you know, like
Right.
there's not a good crossover in,
You don't
Freshman
want, you don't
level.
want history teachers trying to teach algebra.
I don't think I want trying to
No.
teach them
They
algebra.
might envy some of your work.
You know, if they could, you know, mention it in ag, hey, you did this in algebra, you know, something like that maybe, but as a
Yeah.
full staff, that probably not,
Okay. I just want to throw it out there and see what you thought.
yeah.
Strategies, teaching techniques, this stuff, staff development wise during the school year, in-service, or best done alone in the summers on your own.
Like the thinking map thing? Like,
Well, there's things like
is
that.
that what
There's,
you're talking about?
there are other,
I
you know,
think that's better
Strategies.
summer based, cause
Yeah.
that's learning strategies and stuff you can pick up from other schools and talk to people.
Okay.
And you personally know what you feel
Yeah,
like
what
you
you
need
want
to
to do.
move
Yeah.
along, what strategies and.
what about, now this right here, we might be heading into something like this next year or after that. Because my understanding is, budget might change this, because I was in a budget meeting today. But capturing kids' hearts is probably coming to us, a year or two. I don't know if you heard anything about whether it's elementary, but this fall classroom management type stuff. So this, I don't think it'll be next year, and probably the year after that. So you want to go elementary, junior high, us. That does cost a bundle to make it happen. This is not just a one-time thing. If they bring capturing kids' heart into us, we'll be trained for 2 or 3 days. And then they're gonna come in like once in 6 weeks and check on it if things are being done right, stuff like that. But can y'all think of anything, we talked about low socioeconomic stuff, right? And I'm not sure if that would fall, like, that probably goes across the whole thing, how you teach them differently, and I've seen things on how to teach them differently. Talks about how to make the classroom more appeasing to them, like that. I've seen that stuff. But do we wanna look at doing that for staff development, dealing with low socio kids and have it entire school-wide? Or should we say, hey, go get this done your summer, something like that? Thoughts?
What? That and your sped stuff, like how to document it and
Sped stuff on it.
that could be a procedural, like if we all did that the same, that's gotta be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay.
instead of just like making little note, you know, like, I know we're supposed to make notes or whatever, but
The last part of this, because I'm running out of time, and I want to get you out of here. How do we don't have time to go over SMART goals, so you might have heard of them before. The whole purpose of them professional development, really and truly, is to make you better teachers and grow you as a teacher and school improvement. If we were to go with this, how will we come back and evaluate if this worked or not? So you're not just spinning your wheels all the time. How can we go about that? Surveys, going off the data we found out from this stuff? How best do you think would be the best way to evaluate that?
I think feedback from teachers would be one good thing.
Okay, how often?
Well, how often are we gonna do professional development?
Well, if you're looking at, I mean, if it's something, let's say we do something for low socioeconomic kids. As we go through it, if it's working, you say, okay, this is great, but I need more.
Right.
Because I don't remember it all. So we can bring somebody back halfway at semester, because I think January 2nd, we're supposed to be here, but kids aren't. I think it's staff development day. Something like that would be a reboot on the stuff. Is that something like that? So we have to have feedback before December though.
Right.
You follow me? So we have to do it at the end of 6 weeks and see how it's going over time? Is it kind of what y'all think, or
Yeah, or even 9, like.
every 9 weeks?
Quarterly, maybe?
Cool,
Yeah.
okay. All right, that's a good idea. So, and say, what about the DMAC stuff? Same thing?
Yeah.
Ask
Maybe
it, say,
like
do
6
it
weeks,
versus.
like if, I don't know, the 6 weeks gets too much stuff
Yeah.
happens at the end of
Right.
6
Yes.
weeks. Like,
Can we turn around and
you're
So back at 9 weeks unless people are requesting more help.
yeah, and
Okay.
something, but don't make everything end at the 6 weeks. It's just too much stuff.
All right.
Right.
I've got 4:32, so I'll keep you 2 minutes over what I ever meant to. I apologize for that, but thank you so much for helping me